I have no problem with Messi winning it. You know, personally, I think we should get rid of this and just say who's the best player in the world, and then give it to them, and he would get it.
Right.
But I don't believe this is how this should be looked at. For me, it should be about who's made the biggest difference in their teams in the last 12 months. And that's how I think, because of that reason, Virgil van Dijk should have won it. So it all depends on what criteria you're coming from, you know.
But Barca isn't winning La Liga without Messi.
Right. And Liverpool's not winning the Champions League without Van Dijk. So you can kind of go back and forward with all these things. But you know what? There's really not a wrong answer. And for me, Messi is the best player in the world. You know, if I'm picking a world team right now, he's first on my list.
Can I ask you a pub question?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. If you swap the two, do they still win their respective trophies?
No. Liverpool don't win the Champions League without Virgil van Dijk.
Liverpool win it with Messi, though, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, if Messi was... Don't take this the wrong way.
Yep.
If Messi was just that galaxy better than everybody, then Barcelona would have won it. So it's not about always scoring goals, because Barcelona scored plenty of goals. In fact, they scored 3 against Liverpool.
Well, Messi.
Messi did, and it still wasn't enough. So it's not... it's just not straightforward. It's not.
I'll answer your question. Liverpool wins, and their chances of winning are higher with Lionel Messi playing for Liverpool than Barcelona playing with Virgil van Dijk. As I just mentioned, anything in the attack that was worth anything for Barcelona over the last year, Lionel Messi was involved in it, and it was a need. It was dependent upon whatever he did. On the ball, without the ball, scoring the goals, setting somebody else up, because there was no help coming from anywhere else on that field. Let's not forget that when Barcelona made a choice to bring a player that could potentially play up top for them in case that Luis Suarez got injured, that choice was Boateng. Kevin Prince, Boateng. That's what at one point Lionel Messi was playing as his number 9. Arturo Vidal, whatever is left of him in the midfield. Sergio Busquets, whatever is left of him in the midfield. There was no productivity coming from behind. There was no productivity ahead of him. So it was really Lionel Messi or nothing else. And it's what we keep saying time and time again. So when Stevie says who was more important to their team, man, you remove Lionel Messi from whatever Barcelona was last year, and they're not winning anything.
Julien Laurens is with us. What do you make of all this, Jules?
I get both arguments. I think Virgil van Dijk can be disappointed, rightly so, tonight not to have won it. I think the problem he had is that in a way he was victim of being part of the best team in the world right now, which means that in his current team, a lot of other players had votes. Sadio Mane had votes, and Van Dijk had to share, in a way, votes with him, and he finished 4th. Bobby Firmino had votes, Mo Salah had some votes, Trent Alexander had some votes, and you can go on and on. In this Barcelona team, Lionel Messi had all the votes because he was the only one. And like Ali said, he carried that team more than Van Dijk carried his team. Van Dijk made Liverpool better, but he didn't carry Liverpool in the way that Messi carried that Barca team to a certain level of height. And also Argentina in the Copa America, even if they lost in the semi-final, he also carried that team by himself. And I think that there's a point where you also understand why Messi got it, because he's the greatest of all time, and also because he's carrying his teams like no one else does in the world.
Jules, this is the 6th time that he's won it. That is unprecedented. Just put into historical context what this means.
Well, I think people have to understand, even if you don't like the Ballon d'Or, it means a lot to players to win it. And 10 years ago, almost to the day, because it was actually on Sunday 10 years ago that Messi won his first ever Ballon d'Or, which means that in those 10 years he's won 6, which is pretty incredible. And again, you know, as Cristiano Ronaldo not being there, he would have won far more, but it just celebrates the incredible talent and the gift of the footballing gods that Messi has, because he's been not just so good, but so consistent in his greatness as well, which is why he was also rewarded tonight in Paris with his 6th Ballon d'Or. Is that never ever, even not Ronaldo himself and not all the other greats, have been able to be that consistent.
going to be a bit rubbish when he goes, isn't it?
Yes.
Because it's just like watching yesterday's game. He was the whole reason that match stood out. His goal late on against Atleti give Barca the win, and he's done that so many times. And obviously you look at the next generation and the likes of Kylian Mbappe is being talked about, but he can't hold a torch to what Messi has done so far.
There was supposed to be a guy who was going to take that torch.
Yes.
And that was supposed to be Neymar. And he has taken a step back to where he's now part of the group that was farther behind from Messi and Ronaldo than the group that was closer to Messi and Ronaldo. And so Neymar clearly is not the answer and has not been able to produce when needed and when you would expect it for him to be that guy. So he hasn't been that. So then comes Kylian Mbappe. And with Mbappe, you're banking on the continued growth and maturation of a player that's still very young.
Yeah.
And yet you think, man, for the next 10 years, can he be what Ronaldo and Messi have been? But that is such an unfair and crazy standard to try to be measured against.
Look at these stats.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. When you look at the numbers, it's insane. And so therefore, is Mbappe going to do this? Well, and the answer to that question is nobody's going to do this.
Yeah.
Not for a while, not in our lifetime. We just don't see this. We've gotten used to Messi scoring goals every weekend. And when he's gone, as you just mentioned, he leaves a huge, huge void.
Stevie, you played with some really good players who had great seasons, great careers, but it's really the longevity, isn't it?
That's scary.
Just to do what Messi has done.
From a decade.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's almost unfortunate that we're not... I was going to say we don't appreciate how good he is, because I think we do. But it won't be until he's gone, then it'll really smack us right in the face. Because as you said, those stats are just... It's like somebody's made a mistake there.
Yeah.
Can you go and check those? So it's not going to be until he's gone that actually you're going to then realise just how fantastic he is. Because Ali was right what he said earlier. It does... The fact he's so good kind of goes against him sometimes because, well... The first thing you said to us a couple of weeks ago was, well... He scored 50 goals, and any other year would he have won it if it's been his first year?
Yeah.
And we say, well, no, 50 goals. As if 50 goals is like... But it is normal for him. And so a normal for him means that we don't go overboard.
That's it. Like, Jules, we grew up as like the first video game generation, and Messi is kind of the first real player that has taken what we did on the PlayStation and put it on the pitch consistently throughout the seasons. And we're obviously now going to be looking for another player to do that. But boy, that is a high bar that maybe no one will ever achieve again.
Yeah, I do actually wonder if someone, like Ali said, maybe not even in our lifetime, but maybe further down the years, if someone will be able one day to do similar things, similar exploits, similar numbers, similar kind of goals, where he can pretty much dribble past the whole opposition team and still score a goal. I mean, is that good and the bar is that high that we're even wondering right now if anyone can come close to it. And Ronaldo tried really hard and in a way he got very close to it, sometimes a bit better. I think overall I would say that Messi is the greatest and Ronaldo is still below that. But it's just that one day he won't be able to do it anymore. I mean, he's 32 now. How many more years does he have to carry that Barcelona team who, by the way, almost to make life more difficult for Messi to show his greatness even more, have decided, you know what, we're going to recruit bad players or players who are always injured, and we're going to make it even more difficult for you to show your greatness to the world because you will have to carry us. Instead of actually trying to make that team better so Messi could get even better, it seems like they've made it even harder for him by lacking of planning for the last few years or rubbish managers or whatever, and yet he still does it. For how long? Maybe 1 more year, 2 more years, 3 more years maximum, maybe up to 35. But after that, there will be a point where his body, his mind will say, you know what, I've had enough now. I've been doing this for so long. It's time for me to go.
It's difficult not to talk about Ronaldo when you talk about Messi. But had Messi been as gregarious and outspoken as Ronaldo is all the time, would this 50 goals last year have been enough to win it? Because you know Ronnie would have been talking about it all day long. And the other thing is, to do what he's done, Messi, for a decade, means he has to be fit. He means he has to look after himself. We never hear about that. all we hear about is Ronaldo, his fitness regime, and he's up at 6 in the morning. He's doing this, he's doing that. There's no question. Messi does it. He just does it in a quiet way.
Couple of things, and Jules just alluded to it. Never mind that we're going to miss him when he's not around. Barcelona.
Oh, my goodness, imagine.
What is a post-Messi Barcelona look like, and what are they? What direction are they going? And is there a plan in place?
Yeah.
Because it's ending at some point, and what we have seen over the last few years is that planning is not exactly their strong suit. The other thing, and I know this may be petty, but if you're Ronaldo and you're a finalist in this, maybe you attend. And I'm sure there are valid reasons, and I'm sure that there are things that he may have said, you know, he needed to do or what have you, and take care of his body and his injuries and all this. But maybe you go. Maybe you show up. If you have a perception of Ronaldo being self-centered and being all about himself, then him not showing up to this sort of event kind of, in some ways, ratifies that very perception of just saying, okay, since I wasn't going to win it, I ain't coming.
So Lionel Messi, the winner of the 2019 Ballon d'Or. Other awards were handed out as well on the evening. Megan Rapinoe giving the women's Ballon d'Or. Alisson was given the best goalkeeper trophy. Meanwhile, De Ligt, the under-21 Copa trophy.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN+.